This is the new 2025 Subaru Forester Hybrid. Does the new electrified powertrain make this the best Forester ever? And can it still handle challenging trails? Well, we're going to find out right now on Driving Sports TV. This episode of Driving Sports TV is brought to you by Onyx Off-Road. Click the link below to save 20% off your new membership using the code DSTV. The compact crossover market is going all in on hybrid technology. Even the market-leading Toyota RAV4 has altogether dropped its non-hybrid options, starting with the 2026 redesign. And considering that most buyers are going to be looking for hybrids in the future, it was only a matter of time before Subaru joined the party. This is the new 2025 Subaru Forester Hybrid in the top-of-the-line touring trim. The only extra option is the two-tone paint. As you see it here, you're looking at a price of $44,005 US, including destination. Because this is a touring, it is loaded with standard features. Inside you get a 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster, an 11.6-inch vertical touchscreen, a surround view camera system, the mirror even has its own video view, the driver's seat is 10-way adjustable, trimmed with leather, and has both heat and ventilation. This trim also gets a leather-wrapped steering wheel with contrast stitching. On the outside, it has 19-inch alloy wheels wrapped in all-season tires, plus roof rails. This trim also comes with advanced safety tech like a driver monitor system, blind spot warnings, and rear cross-traffic alerts. All trims, of course, get Subaru's EyeSight safety system with adaptive cruise control as standard. Under the hood is Subaru's all-new hybrid setup. This features a 2.5-liter boxer engine with a pair of motor generators that can run as a series parallel system. Even though Subaru does use some Toyota tech in this powertrain, it is a very different setup than Toyota's RAV4e all-wheel drive system. Here, Subaru maintains their trademark symmetrical all-wheel drive hardware. That means this is a full-time all-wheel drive system with hardware connections between the engine, power transfer unit, and all four wheels. It does use Subaru's active system, which has a nominal torque split of 60-40 front to back. The electric motors are integrated into the transmission to provide power when needed. Total system output is rated at 194 horsepower. That is an increase of 14 horses over the standard Forester. EPA rates economy at 34 miles to the gallon on the highway and 35 in town. As with most hybrids, it gets a better in-town figure simply because the stop and go is advantageous to a hybrid setup. In the back, there is a power liftgate. In the side, there is a 12-volt power socket that is easily accessible. This also has the upgraded Harman Kardon sound system, so you also get a subwoofer back here. With all the seats down, you get up to 69.1 cubic feet of cargo capacity. The floor is flat, so you can sleep on it, but being a compact crossover, you will have to go diagonally to fit, most likely. Under the floor are the hybrid's lithium-ion batteries, so unfortunately, there is no room for a spare. Instead, you get a fix-a-flat kit and a compressor. And just to note, Toyota's upcoming RAV4 hybrid, it actually does have a full-size spare in the back because they moved their electric assist batteries under the second row seats. The second row does have lots of legroom. I am 6'1", legs torso proportionate, and I fit nicely. Back here you also get seat warmers, USB-C and USB-A, vents, and a fold-down armrest. Up front, you get a set of supportive seats with some nice leatherwork. The ultra suede bolsters do help keep the driver planted. Unfortunately, Subaru is still using lots of piano black, which is highly reflective and does scratch easily. But otherwise, this is a decent interior with some nice textures. The infotainment system is Subaru's standard vertical setup. On the bottom are digital climate controls. You also get some hard buttons for commonly used options like temperature and defrost. This system does support built-in maps and XM satellite radio for music, or you can wirelessly connect with Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. A digital gauge cluster is now standard across the hybrid models. It has 3 different selectable views: standard, map, and EyeSight. I don't love the graphics, but the functionality is nice. All in all, this is a very fine cabin, and it is definitely competitive in the segment. But now let's take this for a drive, and then we're bringing it back here to our Peninsula Proving Grounds to put its new electric-assisted X mode to the test. Of course, I did drive this vehicle back in California a few months ago when it first came out. But of course, that was a manufacturer ride and drive. You don't get a lot of time behind the wheel. Well, finally, I have some more time and I can finally put this on my own off-road test course, which I am really excited about. But before we start the off-road stuff, let's take a quick spin on the street. Yeah, right off the bat, this feels faster than a standard Forester, because a standard Forester, to me, is super sluggish most of the time. That 2.5 liter naturally aspirated motor just doesn't have enough oomph. Well, finally, with the addition of the electric motors on this vehicle, we get that little bit extra oomph that I've been missing. So it doesn't feel fast, but it does feel a lot better. Okay, let's start this off with a 0 to 60 and see just how quick this is. Now, for the sake of the test, I am going to put the SI drive mode into S. That gives me a quicker throttle response. I'm going to stop completely. There's no reason to preload here because it's not a turbo. So 3, 2, 1, floor it, and we're off. 30, 40, 50, and 60. 8.09 seconds. It's actually not that bad. That is pretty much on par with the Ford Bronco Sport with the 1.5 liter 3-cylinder turbo that we just tested. And that shouldn't be a big surprise because both of these vehicles put out about 200 horsepower. So equal horsepower equals 0 to 60. Okay, I'm good with that. So this is equipped, of course, with adaptive cruise control with lane centering. They have a pretty good system. I do like using it. I just hit a button there, set my target speed, and now not only is it gapping the vehicle in front of me, it is actually auto steering, and it's doing a good job of keeping things centered. Now, obviously, this does depend on the quality of the road that you're on, that the striping makes sense. But here, it's actually doing a pretty good job. Hands back on the wheel, of course, because it is not a hands-free system. Not yet. I rather like driving the Subaru Forester. It's a very utilitarian compact crossover. Just the shape of it, it's so square. You got so much room back there. The seats are comfortable. I like the new digital gauge cluster from a functionality perspective. Although I think some of the graphics in here, like these little angled boxes, they just kind of seem like something I would have designed back in the 90s, and then by the aughts, I would have been embarrassed by them because it's like, wow, that's lazy design. And well, yeah, we're seeing that here. Now, the good news is that we have had a preview of the new 2026 Subaru Outback, and that one has new graphics for both the digital gauge cluster as well as for the infotainment system. So I'm really looking forward to that. But with this one, we still have the older design ideas at play. And you know what? They may not look great, but they are functional. And I think that's actually, always been a key part of Subarus. Doesn't look great, works really well. So in this vehicle, you do sit rather high. I think that's why a lot of people like the Forester. It's kind of more of a truck-like seating position. In fact, I feel it is almost a little too high, but I get what they're going for here. We do have a very airy sunroof, which is kind of a nice addition because the sunroof has always been rather large on a Forester. Same thing here. Not quite panorama territory, but it is a good, well-lit space because of it. As far as road feel, I think it's actually pretty good. I like their suspension tuning. There's nothing fancy going on here. They're just regular shocks and springs, but they are doing a good job of soaking up the irregularities on this highway. So I'm curious what the mileage is actually like in the real world here. So I'm going to go ahead and reset my trip. If I can't, oh, it's right there. Reset the trip. So reset that. It's reset my fuel average. And let's just see what this calculates as an average, going around this highway at kind of about 40 to 45 miles per hour. Let's do 10 miles and then we'll check back in. Checking in on mileage, I've done 4 miles and I'm averaging around 36, 37 mpgs. Pretty good so far. Let's do the full 10 and see what we come back with. And do note that the road I'm driving on is a lot of ups and downs. Now, they're not very big, but it is going to stress the system a little bit more than a perfectly flat highway. But so far, very impressive. Part of the driver monitor system also constantly watches your eyes. to let you know if you need to be staying alert. If you're looking too far off into the distance, yeah, there. Now it's like reminding me to keep my eyes on the road. It's kind of annoying, actually. Now, the upside with this system is that it does tie into user profiles, so you can key your settings in with your face, which is nice. But then it's constantly watching your face to make sure that your eyes are on the road, which, I mean, yes, I can see it from a safety perspective, but I just don't need the nags, honestly. Especially when I'm filming like this and addressing you guys. Yeah, it's constantly telling me, look ahead. Well, you know what? There's nobody on the road. We're fine. Oh, by the way, 6.9 miles and we're at 38 miles to the gallon still. I mean, dude, this is great. I know that the current state of cars basically has everybody pooping on everything. If you look at the most popular videos on YouTube in the automotive section, it's almost always somebody who's loudly complaining about some small thing they don't like on a vehicle. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that. I still like this vehicle. The MPGs on this are nuts considering what you're getting here. And I like this car. I just do. That's the truth. It is kind of neat how you can bring up the map here in the gauge cluster, and it will even tie into Apple Maps if you have Apple Maps installed, which is unusual. Some, like Toyotas, they'll just turn off maps altogether if you are using Apple Maps. So driving 10 miles on a highway with speeds between 35 and 45, little up, little down, I managed to get almost 40 miles to the gallon, according to the onboard computer. That is impressive. So it drives nice, it's more powerful, and it's economical. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff about the hybrid version of this Forester. Now, granted, is the price more than you want to spend? Well, you know, that's between you and your accountant. But I don't know, I think it's pretty darn competitive. I mean, you think about it, this exact trim is, what, $2,000 more than what I paid for my Bronco Sport with a 2-liter all-wheel drive, more horsepower in the Bronco Sport, but this has much better economy. So, I don't know, it's a toss-up. Well, now let's see how this deals with tricky off-road conditions. We're gonna now take this to our courses here at our Peninsula Proving Grounds. So there's a few things that I wanna figure out with this vehicle. And the first one is a little weird. So I heard that when using reverse on the Forester Hybrid, it doesn't actually have a reverse gear. Instead, it just uses the electric motors. So of course, that begs the question, will you run out of power if you go backwards long enough? Let's put that to the test, shall we? So the test, very easy. I'm just gonna drive backwards a lot. And we'll see if we run out of power here. Right. So this actually brings to point, this rear view camera doesn't use this space very well. I mean, surround view camera system, yet it only uses like a quarter of the screen. Don't love that. So in theory, we're using no gears here. We're just using an electric motor to go backwards. So I think the real question is, does the motor generator, because remember there's two electric motors here, one produces power and the other produces thrust. Does the one produce power fast enough to keep the other one thrusting? I'm gonna go up a hill. Ooh, our battery is getting low. We're down to 2 pegs on the battery now. That's good for the test. Oh, I had to put brakes on. That means it regenerated power. That's gonna give us more power. Oh, we're down to 1 peg still. Add a little more thrust here. Come on. Run out of power. You know you want to. Nobody's going to be reversing this much. Let's just say that much, okay? This is ridiculous. Wait, why do I have 2 pegs of battery now? Not fair. It's because I'm braking on this hill? Maybe. I think what I'm discovering here is that it can produce enough power that we never actually run all the way out of power here. I mean, how far are you going to back up? Reasonably. I've done almost a mile here. Oh, now I'm up to 3 pegs on my battery. Okay, I give up. I give up. Yeah, you can back up all day long. It's not going to run out of juice. It's producing enough power that it's keeping it filled. Okay, well now let's go on to the next question. How good is X mode when it gets that little extra electric assist. And for that, we're going to head into our fun forest. Right, so of course, this is a Subaru, so it has 8.7 inches of ground clearance. That is standard across most Subarus. The only differences are the electric vehicles. Actually, no, even the electrics have about the same. But the wilderness models give you even more. So we should have plenty of ground clearance for the testing we're doing today. On this one, it is in the touchscreen, and you have to cycle over to where it is. Come on, let's go to anytime now. There we go. And we're going to do snow dirt. That's the standard X modes. So that'll give us some of the more extreme brake vectoring, where it'll detect a wheel is spinning, apply brakes, and then that'll then allow power to go back into the system and go to the wheels with grip. So this entry, clean the windshield from the dust there from all the reversing. The entry here, ooh, now that I'm in X mode, it actually is really letting me crawl very slowly. That's nice. Any rubbing? Nope, because we're over 8 inches at 8.7. Actually, this throttle calibration is very interesting because it is super slow now that I'm in X mode. Love that. Okay, now we're going to take traction off one of the wheels and we'll look for spin. And what you're looking for, your homework, is to look for those wheel brakes applying, which means that power is not bleeding out of that wheel. Instead, it's going to the wheel with grip. Oh, this is a good opportunity for me to point out that this actually does have a surround view camera system. Hit the button down there and we could toggle through a number of different views, one of which shows me the front and the sides. Again, it doesn't use all the space. It's kind of a missed opportunity. I want mostly a front view. Yeah, there we go. I like that one. Then go a little wide. Look for wheel lifting, look for articulation, look for wheel spin. I am on purpose not using momentum. I'm just very slowly applying throttle so you can see those wheel brakes in action, pushing us forward. Nicely done. Apply throttle, it adds brake vectoring and lets us move forward. Easy. Now you will note it will tear up the trail more than a hard lock system is, like a physical locker, but you just don't get physical lockers on these compact crossovers. They're just, the powertrains just aren't really designed for that. Really close there, keep on going. We're definitely lifting a wheel in the back. And then now we're gonna look to the driver's side front because we'll probably lift coming out of here. Let's keep that throttle in. Moves it forward, boom. Right. X mode also includes a hill descent control feature. Let's test that next. Hill descent control is used to basically manage a descent down a slippery surface. So snow, gravel, loose dirt, stuff like that. We have loose dirt here, and this is about a 20-degree tilt, which means it should be steep enough that we'll feel the effects of the system, though this clearly isn't dangerous because we use this for testing all the time. Now, how do you set this up? Well, very easy. You're in X mode. You have hill descent control on automatically. What it will do is it'll take your approach speed. Let's get our camera up here again so I can see the cones. It'll take your approach speed on the hill and then apply that to the speed that you want to go. So if you go stop halfway and then start, with more throttle, it'll then pick up that new speed. So I'm going to go over crest slow as possible, and then I'm just going to lift my foot off the brake, and I'm just going to let the vehicle ease me down. And there we go. Little rub on the front, but not too bad. As usual with these type of systems, I think that descent was too quick. I prefer to have a descent system that'll let me do it at 1 mile per hour, but at least it has the feature. If you're going down a really long hill, then maybe that'll be a good assist. Personally, yeah, I never use it. Right, well, we got something else here. We got our new Ridgeline Trail. Let's go up that. So this part of the Ridgeline Trail is new. We just built it, and because of that, it's still really soft. So it's going to be very complicated to get up it, potentially. I have taken my Land Cruiser up it. I've taken a Bronco Sport Badlands up it. The Bronco Sport Big Bend Edition did have trouble getting up this, but that's okay. Actually, it didn't even get up it because it couldn't make the crest up at the top. The breakover just wasn't good enough. But with 8.7 inches of ground clearance, I'm hoping this will do decent. So again, dirt snow mode, just drive, let it do its thing. Gonna keep a little momentum going up, listen for grinding, watch power as it shifts around the system. Now we can't just bolt up this because the road is only as wide as the vehicle is up at the top. Oh, come on. Oh, I let it grind down a little too much. Bump up. Bump up. There we go. Come on, you got this. Almost there. Yes, it did it. Nice. That was especially impressive when you take into account this is on all-season tires. They're not all-terrain, so grip, not a lot of it. Well, let's continue on. We got a little ditch here. Listen for bumping by the nose. I expect we'll get a little rub there, not too bad. Actually, much less rub than my Badlands. Oh, it sees obstacle ahead, so it doesn't want to go ahead. Come on, hit throttle twice, and that overrides that. There we go. Nice. Now on to the moguls. So I'm going to go wide, go into the ditch there. I love it when it goes full electric mode. That's very cool. Oh, not quite. I went a little too wide there. This is still a new section for me, so I'm still getting used to it. Full electric crawling. Oh yeah. Now here we're going to lift that back wheel up, add a little throttle, and just watch those brakes kicking in. As we lift that wheel, there we go. Nice. Didn't even rub the front. Excellent. We got sand slide, and then we're going to finish this up. Now you will notice so far we've only used X Mode Type 1. That is the X Mode that's on all Subaru vehicles that have it. I didn't bother with deep snow mud because we haven't had any conditions where that's relevant. But what that does is it basically gives you even more wheel spin to help kind of claw through challenging conditions. But so far, Type 1 has been doing just fine for the conditions we have today. Add throttle, you just keep it in, figures it out. Teeter-totter over. Boop, there we go. Nice. So now my final thoughts on this Forester. I think it's actually really good. Obviously the X Mode system works fantastic, and it doesn't matter whether you have that gas engine kicking in or if it's electric motors. Because they're all part of the same physical powertrain, you don't have to wait for the system to actually decide, oh, I need to put on my all-wheel drive system and then reconnect everything. No, it just does it. It works. Now granted, yes, because this is a brake vectoring system, you do have to add throttle and you have to wait for it to kind of figure out the conditions to move you forward. Obviously, something like the dual clutch locker on the back of the Bronco Sport, the Badlands edition, is more advantageous in challenging conditions because you can be a little bit more preemptive, adding power to both wheels as opposed to waiting for the wheel brakes to kick in and shift power around. But I think that if you're looking for a vehicle that has enough capability to get you up to pretty much any trailhead, but is also comfortable and supremely economical, I don't know why you wouldn't consider this vehicle. Now, is something like the RAV4 going to be more popular? Well, yeah, it always is. I haven't driven the 2026 yet. Those aren't available to drive at the time of filming, so I don't know how much better that'll be compared to this one. But I would say that if you're comparing this versus like that XSE RAV4, the 2025 one we just tested a few months ago, I would take this one every day. I find the seats more comfortable. I find the all-wheel drive system more capable. Just overall, I kind of prefer this. Now, it's not a perfect vehicle, clearly. I don't love the graphics that they use. The charging pad for my iPhone isn't the best. I constantly have to try to move it to get it to charge properly. And their over-reliance on piano black is just kind of annoying. But overall, I really like this new Forester. So here's the big question I want to pose to you. Should Subaru make the new Forester Wilderness a hybrid, or should they stick to the 2.5 liter? Post a comment below. Is the lack of a full-size spare tire going to be a problem? Probably. Let's talk about it. For Driving Sports TV, I'm Ryan Douthit. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again right here on the next video.